Welcome to Tactical Talk. This is Zain Khan. Today's topic is why is Turkey going into Afghanistan? Many geopolitical analysts and observers have been asking this question. So we thought, why not resolve the matter and indulge into this topic? Today's guests are one is from Turkey and the other is from Pakistan. Joining us from Turkey is a senior international geopolitical analyst, Kyle Inan, and the other geopolitical analyst and senior political analyst from Pakistan joining us is Captain Adeeb Safvi, who is a former senior Pakistan Navy officer. Welcome to our show, Kyle. This is Zain Khan. It is a pleasure having you on Tactical Talk.
Likewise, Zain. It's a pleasure to be on your show.
Welcome to our show, Captain Adeeb Safvi. It's always a pleasure having you.
Thank you, Zain. It's always a pleasure to be talking to you on these subjects. Thank you.
Let's get to the first question, and I want to ask Kyle this question. What is Turkey's role in the Afghanistan peace process?
Sure. To do that, let's quickly jog our memories back to June 14th into Brussels, where two leaders, President Biden and President Erdogan, had a extensive discussion on the taking over of the Hamid Karzai International Airport. Now, the significance of this airport, it cannot be overstated because it's a forefront for diplomats traveling to in and out of Afghanistan. Now, the critical issue here is Turkey would love to take over the airport, operations of the airport. And I want to clarify there, Turkey's not interested in protecting the Afghan government whatsoever. This is a totally different political subject, but the priority is to safeguard the Hamid Karzai International Airport. And to do that, Turkey is negotiating with the US and NATO with its counterparts for a financial and legal basis to secure its interests in the region as well, because Turkey cannot do this without the framework of NATO.
Captain Safvi, please comment on what is Pakistan's role in Afghanistan and how Pakistan and Turkey could work together inside of Afghanistan.
Yes, thank you. And the main thing that we must keep in mind is that Afghanistan as a whole and the people living there, the Pashtuns especially, historically they do not appreciate or do not accept foreign occupation or being dictated from outside. The history tells us that British Empire, which had colonies all over the world, where the sun never sat in that empire, they were unable to really tame down Afghanistan, and they did not bother to go there. Of late, we saw the Soviets doing the same thing, and they had to withdraw, and now the Americans are doing the same. So if that is the case, one must be very thoughtful and very clear that the locals' culture and their ethos does not permit anybody else to be present on their soil in terms of any kind of administration or in kind of controlling the various aspects of their life. So my advice or my point of view to my friend from Turkey would be that we should really take it with a pinch of salt what the Americans want, because the Americans have had the habit of creating a mess, leaving the place in a mess, and somebody else has to go and clear up that mess. So my take would be that Turkey must think very clearly, apart from the legal and the financial aspects, as regards to the safety and security of the people that they will be there on the ground, and whether it's worth it to put them in that harm's way or not.
Also, please add, what is Pakistan's role inside of Afghanistan?
Okay, now this is a very interesting part. Pakistan, right from the word go, has had a very checkered history in dealing with Afghan people. Our previous governments actually were taking dictation from the Americans and were getting into trouble all the time, both in terms of internal image and security of the people who were the citizens of Pakistan, as well as those who were outside. They were not earning any good name. So the whole thing was in a complete mess till the time the present government took over, and then they made a very clear decision that we cannot fight somebody else's war, and the peace process that ensued from the cooperation. Pakistan decided to be partners in peace, as the Prime Minister calls it, and his own personal credibility was of great importance in bringing Taliban to the table in Qatar, and a long drawn process till the time they came down to final agreement. And people call it a Doha agreement, but I call it as an instrument of surrender that the United States signed there. And as a matter of fact, since then, they have not even been concerned about implementing that agreement, despite the fact that Pakistan continued to support them and continued to talk to the Taliban in terms of their withdrawal from Afghanistan. The problem is, Zain, that the American psyche is that they are totally arrogant and disrespectful to any nation in the world. They have no concern of the human life of any other race or color or creed. So the result was that despite the fact that they made that agreement, they, for their own self, the new government of Biden decided that we will not vacate by 1st of May, and a unilateral decision was taken that we need some time. And they realized that it's not going to be easy. And finally, again, Pakistan had to intervene and give them the advice and also take care of the retaliation from Taliban, that they came down and they said, all right, 9/11 would be the final date and we'll go. And now people are talking over there that the retreat in haste. This is only because of their own self-created problem, where they decided to, no, nothing can happen, I can stay as long as I want. But that was a wrong decision, and now they are going as per their plan. And so far as Pakistan role is concerned, it continues to remain as long as they are withdrawing and not creating any problem, will allow them to withdraw as smoothly as possible.
Inan, some observers consider Afghanistan to be more complex than Syria. What are your comments?
Let's think about this from a different geopolitical standpoint, Zain. If let's not forget about also Soviet Russian aspirations in the Central Asian region, which is extremely critical, because they're going to read in their minds the absence of US as a taking over of their own influence in the region, which is very, very risky for the Afghani people. I don't think they're going to want to repeat history in that sense. And Turkey has had relations with Afghanistan since 1920s.
I'd also like to add that many analysts also claim that the Russians are arming the Afghan Taliban against the US just so they could take revenge of the USSR defeat.
Yes, they are. There is some. The American side has also been saying that with regards to the Taliban. Now, the Taliban has expressly stated that they don't want any foreign powers operating or their presence within the borders of Afghanistan. But I think there might be some sort of a deal reached. I think there was, as Mr. Safvi mentioned, there was a number of talks in Qatar, Doha, but I don't think they were a deal was reached successfully. So but both sides are trying different perspectives to make it a smooth transition. But of course, when it comes to the issue of Afghanistan, nothing is smooth. And I want to talk in terms of Syria and Pakistan. So as far as I know, there's around 2.8 million undocumented refugees in Pakistan. And then I think Prime Minister's National Security Advisor, I think is Moad Yusuf, his name, he expressly stated saying, if there's even the slightest of risk with the Afghanistan border, then we will be forced to shut down the Afghani border. And I think that's a reasonable, justified action to do so, because history has shown us that the Taliban does not take lightly to there be offers being rejected.
Would you like to add something, Captain Safvi?
I would like to add here, Zain, that this refugee problem or again in the wake of civil war, if it happens in Afghanistan, is being hyped by the American camp. But the news that I have from the front and from the areas that the Taliban have taken over, there is virtually very little fight, and the civilian as well as the forces have very amicably surrendered or joined the Taliban, and there is not much of a bloodshed as people are talking about. And I personally feel it won't happen till the time it comes down to the fall of Kabul, because the forces loyal to President Ghani and Abdullah would be then defending it with whatever effort they may have. But till then, I don't think there will be any problem. And maybe as the reports are that Abdullah and Ghani may escape before they come down there. So the forces will not have any resistance. So personally, I do not foresee any large influx of refugees on the borders, because there won't be that kind of bloodshed as it was in the last time.
Kyle, I want to ask a very important question, and it's going to be hypothetical. Let's hypothetically suppose that Kabul falls to the Taliban. How problematic would the US perceive this event, and would it be as problematic as if they could come back into Afghanistan, the US? Would it be that serious?
Now the thing is, if Turkey and the US don't reach an agreement with peacekeeping personnel staying in Afghanistan, then based on the charter, the US Resolute Mission troops, I think there's around 4,000, are supposed to be stationed in Afghanistan. Now let's rewind clocks back to 9/11 attacks, and America is extremely sensitive about the Afghanistan's international security. Plus, if you think, when we take into account that the international airport is bearing its own risks, Afghanistan would probably become an isolated state. And that's not something that any of the international neighbors would want. And I think that's probably more of the pressing issues that we can discuss.
What do you say to this, Mr. Safvi?
There is no question of if. I personally believe Kabul will fall. And before the Americans invaded Afghanistan, Taliban government was there, and Pakistan had recognized that government, and we had very safe western border. There was not any much of trouble coming from that side till the time the Soviets, till Americans came and started bombarding and creating that mess. So if the Taliban take over, and I don't think they are in any case, in any way, any unreasonable people. If they are talked properly, handled properly, they would be recognized by other states as well. And so probably the isolation of that country may not be there, despite the dislike of the Americans, because I personally have a very strong feeling that the Americans create and fabricate stories, and fake false news goes out, and that actually becomes misleading. But truly speaking, I don't foresee any kind of problem. Even if the Taliban take over, they will talk to the other governments like any other government, and they will maintain those kinds of relations that have existed between Pakistan and Afghanistan, Turkey and Afghanistan. I don't think there should be any different way other than maintaining a very friendly and cordial relations.
Captain Safvi, you just said that Afghanistan would not be isolated if the Taliban take over. Other governments, you've also mentioned that other governments would accept their leadership. How do you see Russia and China perceiving the Taliban government?
Yes, I personally think China would definitely accept it, because China plans to extend the CPEC projects to after Iran to Afghanistan, and then go down to Turkey and Central Asian republics. So China has a very clear economic interest in, and also is interested in giving Afghanistan development projects which actually is a very war-torn country. It needs all the support and help to develop and come back on the even keel. So China, I think, will have no problems. Likewise, Russians are also on the same band with Chinese. So in the region, I personally think that China, Russia, Iran, Pakistan, Turkey, Afghanistan, this all be will be on the same page, and development of this region led by China and of course supported by Russia. So far as arming of Taliban by Russians is concerned, well, that could be one of the reasons that when Russians came in, Americans did the same to them. So now they are giving them a taste of their own medicine. And I feel very happy that the Americans are being treated that way, because they have to learn the lessons the hard way. Same thing happened with them in Vietnam when they had to leave. In Korea, they had to leave. So they don't learn from their own mistakes and continue to do so.
But Mr. Safvi, I mean, I understand, and we all understand that China is focusing on its Belt and Road Initiative. But how are we so sure that they would want to even negotiate with the Taliban when China is already facing its own Uyghurs issue in the region? How do you think that they would want to negotiate with the Afghan Taliban?
I'm glad you brought that point. China's internal problems are being misinformed, are being, as I said, fabricated stories coming out from the Americans, who are trying to create that rift, trying to create that wedge between China and Pakistan, between all the other Muslims and non-Muslims. There is not that kind of a problem which is being portrayed by the Americans. So there is absolutely complete internal affair, and as the Prime Minister mentioned, Imran Khan mentioned, that we always talk to them behind closed doors, and we are quite comfortable with what is happening there. And that is why I maintain that the Taliban are also looking forward for their own development of their own country, and China will not hesitate to move in there. And that is what the Americans don't want, because it will be complete walkover for the Chinese to, as the Afghanistan goes right into their lap, getting the economic help, getting all the kinds of things, and they feel left out. So this is all disinformation being spread by the American and CIA, which we must all be very careful about in accepting what is being told.
Kyle, Turkey led some prominent peace process initiatives. What does Turkey expect from inside and from Afghanistan?
I think Turkey is trying to establish a sustainable peace process in terms of Afghanistan while growing its presence in the region. And I think Turkey would not, even though not stated outspokenly, would not want to have any kind of Russian influence in the region. Turkey will, if Turkey is able to provide some sort of security to the region, Turkey can use this as a trump card in talking with the West and saying, hey, look, I've already established some sort of a peace, and I'm able to do so in different regions as well, such as Syria and Libya. So when the American troops are out, Turkey can definitely play a strengthening role in these regions. I think Turkey does not want to be, I think Turkey is trying to be as neutral as possible while protecting its own interests, as any other country would. I think even though Taliban has outspokenly stated that they don't want any foreign intervention in Afghanistan, with the exception of the airport, because the airport represents stability in the region. Again, like I said, the diplomats traveling both in and out of the country is the most crucial element, and that will work in favor of Afghanistan geopolitical security in the future.
Captain Safvi just mentioned that China is looking towards the Central Asian states through the BRI. How does Turkey perceive the CPEC and the BRI?
Sure. Turkey was one of the key participants, and let me go back to 2013 very quickly. The BRI initiative started when China started pumping $150 billion to expand the infrastructure of the railroad, because if you take the sea lanes or the sea route, traditionally, it takes 1 month for any kind of crate or carriage to go from Europe to China. Well, they wanted to reduce this time to 12, and that's exactly what the BRI did with the railroad working. Now, China used the Asian Development Fund, the Asian banks, and all its power, financial power it had to establish this. Now, I want to say Turkey has the largest trade deficit with China, and Turkey is definitely willing to reduce that gap. And with the establishing of this train route, Turkey is able to increase its volume of exports to China, especially to this Shan province, which is the capital city of the Shanxi province in central China. And I think it will work in favor of the 6 countries which are on the route. I think maybe even more, because the train goes approximately 5,000 miles, 2 continents, passes through 6 or 7 countries. And all of these countries will get some sort of a share. And it is really important that the Silk Way is operational and fully running, because otherwise we would be looking back at historical past mistakes that everybody's trying to, I guess with the reduced trade times, and would not be possible in the future as much as the railroad would provide.
Kyle, there's another project that has been launched, which is a train between Pakistan, Iran, which goes into Turkey. How do you see interconnectivity that is going on? You have the CPEC coming from China into Pakistan, and then we have from Pakistan a train that goes into Iran, then into Turkey. How is this interconnectivity positive for the future of geoeconomics and geopolitics in the region?
So I believe this will work in favor of international trade, and economically speaking, I think this will add volumes to countries' trade levels.
Mr. Safvi, I want to get to the last question. How important is this CPEC, the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, for the region, and how would it benefit Turkey if Turkey plans to join in the near future?
Yes, thank you, Dan. As just mentioned by our friend from Mikhail, that this interconnectivity right from China to Turkey is going to play a very crucial and important role in the development of the region as a whole. And there are 2 aspects to it. One, the economic progress and the Chinese investment coming in large quantities without any strings attached, as it is done by the IMF or World Bank. And this is a great problem for the Americans, because they have not been able to match the kind of investment and without any strings and the development that China has done under CPEC and other conditions. So they have come up with all kind of various conspiracy theories that China will take over and China will control the countries that it's going in. So let's put that conspiracy theory aside. China is very much clear that it would provide the investment in those countries for development on equal term basis, as just mentioned, that it will be win-win situation for all. And I think we must look at it in that perspective, that and support it both in the CPEC and other development programs that are likely to come once Afghanistan problem is settled. I personally feel that Afghanistan will be very much part of the CPEC. Afghanistan will play its role as a normal country and with all and maintain relations with the other neighbors like that. So therefore, Iran, Pakistan, Turkey rail link is a very crucial link, which, as I said, was established in 1960. We must continue to work on it, and its connectivity with the CPEC will be very fruitful in terms of the regional development and economic progress of the region.
Thank you so much, Captain Adeeb Safvi, for being on Tactical Talk. It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you, Zain. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Inan, joining us from Turkey. It was a pleasure having you.
Always a pleasure, Zain. Thank you very much.
This was Inan, an international geopolitical analyst, joining us from Turkey, also joining us from Pakistan, a senior political analyst, and also a geopolitical analyst from Pakistan, Captain Adeeb Safvi, who was also a former Pakistan Navy officer. We were discussing why is Turkey coming in to Afghanistan. Until the next episode of Tactical Talk, keep on watching Tactical Talk. This is Zain Khan. Take care and goodbye.